All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So, when the market gets a little shaky, I genuinely believe these like silly tickers do well, okay? And I'm looking at a silly ticker right here, all right? We just came off a 1 for 150 reverse split, and then lo and behold, you get another 250% runner today, right? Like those two sentences normally don't go hand in hand, all right? So believe me when I say, when I look at a stock like this, the hardest thing for me is to keep my rules. All right, because again, you're looking at this and you're thinking to yourself, how is this dude saying this stuff when I'm looking at this, right? And to me, there are always going to be outliers. All right, nothing is perfect. Nothing is like that perfect sample of fact. No. There are outliers, and that's all that this is, all right? But look, there is actually a good way of trading this one, and I'll at least give you my thoughts of what could have been done today and then what I would expect for tomorrow to make this interesting, all right? But before we go any further and I give you more of my thoughts on this one and the rest, I forgot to talk about the other ones, but there are others. What are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. I've definitely never looked at this one before, so I will draw some horizontal support and resistance lines. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to this channel, share this video online with your friends, comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms, but for real, for real, being here and giving me your time is super appreciated, all right? Let's get into this, okay? And I don't know how to word this. Okay, look, when I first started making these videos, I would cover these runners, okay? Listen, a 250% day is not a normal stock, all right? I would cover these recent runners. That's what I'm going to chapter this thing as, right? And for real, I started to lose a lot of money. Okay. And my problem was I started looking at stocks that I consciously ignore, because the problem is when you look at too many stocks like this, it's really easy to break your rules, okay? And I'm really like, I'm telling you, I lost. I'm saying this with a smile. I can see it on the reflection of the screen right here. Oh man, and you know the worst part was, it's not like I lost a lot in a single ticker or two. I'd put a little bit on this one, gamble, lose. I'd put a little bit on this one, gamble, lose. I'd put a little bit on this one, gamble, lose. You get the pattern, right? Maybe win on one, lose on four. Not the 25% that I would want. Normally, I'm telling you, if I can win on one and lose on three, I generally do really well on that average. But no, not with these ones, okay? Because these are hardcore, okay? And that's my kind of disclaimer to this, I think. All right, so let's actually get into the technicals. So the next kind of set of disclaimers, I guess, before the technicals. So excuse me. Listen, reverse split is death. I don't care if it's 1 for 2. I don't care if it's 1 for 200. This 150 that we see. Reverse splits are death. And again, I see a 250% gain the day after the reverse split. And I know I sound incredibly dumb saying that, right? But oh man, they are. And I can't break that rule on a couple outliers, all right? That said, what would I did not trade this. I did not make $1. Hey, if you made a killing, I hope you banked and I hope you crushed, right? What I would have done, I would have considered the above 8 and 20 moment, and more than anything, I would have gotten in over this candle. So this day right here closed at $3.64. You can see that 364 is actually over that $3.54 20 moving average as well. So breaking this candle, what day was this? The 3rd of this month, made me know that we were over the 8 and the 20. Hey, you break the 8, you go to the 20. You break the 20, you go to the 50. We broke the 8 and the 20 and we went to the 50, right? Red, 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 right? So to me, that would have been an actually safe trade, right? You had a clear channel, you had a whole mess of zero resistances, right? Like that's an insignificant green. By the time you get here, you're already at the 50 moving average, right? So that is a maybe. But to me, again, I look at this and I think to myself two things. Number one, don't break a rule when you see an outlier. All right. Number two, you got to set a higher expectation for tomorrow. Okay. What do I mean by that? It's really 100% volume. No, let's say it this way. It's definitely 90% volume, 5% moving average. And that's about it. No, 10% moving average, 90% volume. That was horrible math right there. I think I thought that was the third thing, but there clearly wasn't. All right. What happens? Let's not even talk about this reverse split day. Let's click on this random green day. All right. When we look at this day, the volume was 400,000 shares. All right. Let's look at an even bigger green day. This was 700,000 shares. That makes sense. All right. Random little red one is 300, 400. Random little green one is 500. So this normally trades about 500,000 shares. Today, we almost hit 200 million shares, all right? This thing barely knows how to get a million, let alone 200 million, all right? So the biggest question for me tomorrow is going to be, what's volume going to look like, okay? What is volume going to look like? Are we going to come back to normal, which is horrible, horrible, horrible pump and dump? Or are we going to at least be able to maintain, all right? So let's take out the trusty calculator. I guess I would be okay with like 140. 140 is a good drop, right? You're definitely giving up, what, 30% volume, right? 20, 40, 60. 140, let's do that. If I want 140 million shares traded in a 7-hour day, that's 20 million shares in the first hour. That's 40 million shares in the second hour, all right? If we're not near that, that's going to be worrisome, all right? And the worst thing that could happen is, what did yesterday do? Oh man, yesterday didn't even crack a million. Like, I don't know. To me, this smells like a pump and dump. I saw no good volume, and like, I gotta be honest, I'm assuming pump and dump here, all right? I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, look at that. Okay, so I was basically trying to click on like half of this roughly, right? It was almost right there at the bottom of that. So maybe I think I like that number. I think between 440 and 425 is my come down number, okay? Where are we to this? No, that's too high. Where are we to that? That's our number. So on March 5th, we open at $6.22. All right. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to set an alert for that a little bit higher. Let's do 26. Let's do on the other side of that 25-cent mark. If this thing can start to break into that 622, oh man, there's a real good chance that we come to here again around 760. Listen, I see this little gap. I know how insignificant and easy it looks. And you know I say break the 50, go to 100. I think this is going to be a hard line. The gap fill border, the line before you flip all the way up, it's always a little harder for really no reason at all right? So get me into that like 625 range and I'll be interested for sure, all right? And I'll start to put a 760 target to that. Otherwise, I don't know if the 50 moving average is going to hold, and I think we're coming down. All right, let's just zoom out real quick. I mean, look at this thing. First of all, we did another reverse split right there. I mean, almost in that entire, but let's just stop right here. Since right here, since November of 22, basically all of 23 till today, I think it's very fair to say we've been completely under the 50 moving average. There were some moments we were on it. There were some moments we were over it. in a year and a quarter, we've pretty much been under it. So that is not a friendly line. That's not a line I'm assuming we're going to stay over. If we do, we're going to make a run and we're going to run away from it as quickly as we can. Maybe just doji it for all I know. But yeah, break into that. We're going to try to go to that. Otherwise, I do think we're going to come to that, like, yeah, 440 seems like a 440, 430. We might even come as low as 360 if things get real ugly. All right. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if there were headlines or news or anything that I missed, but my thoughts on a silly stock. All right. Let me know your opinions. I'm excited to talk about this one. NVOS. All right. I have not thought about NVOS maybe since summer of last year. And you know I'm going to go back and talk about that moment, all right? But really quickly, please, if you can subscribe, if you can share, oh my, it does wonders with these algorithms, all right? So I'm going to zoom back before I talk about the beginning. I remember this run, all right? It was clearly before the reverse split happened. But yeah, we went from like 14 cents all the way up to, my goodness, I barely remember how high. I think, man, it actually might have even gone from 8 to 60. I think 14 is kind of around where I started to jump in and started covering it on YouTube. But my goodness, the NVOS was an amazing, amazing runner, all right? Clearly, most of the life has been not doing that, right? But it wasn't that long ago. It was within a year that this happened, that monster run. It was within a year ago that NVOS was probably the highest volume per day, give or take, like for the longest period. Like NVOS was king for a moment, queen for my ladies out there, right? And that's something I like knowing, right? Clearly, we've come off a reverse split. Clearly, we've just been living under the 8 and the 20. Obviously, it is not summer anymore. It is the frigid winters of Antarctica since those moments, right? But interesting things happen here. And I think there were some decent headlines. And I actually know we talked about it on ours. I think NVOS earnings, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on. Boom. So yesterday there was some earnings news. And yesterday, obviously, we ended with the doji, right? But yeah, yesterday had some news. Today, obviously, we make the move and then some, right? The one thing I want to show, okay, before I talk about the present. Again, going back to that last run, it started, you can basically say, middle of August all the way through October, okay? I'm moving to the S&P 500. All right, and let's zoom in, same time frame. August till about October is when the S&P 500 went down. Okay, now listen, I'm not necessarily like gonna correlate the two on just one moment, but we're kind of setting up S&P 500 to go down. And lo and behold, NVOS is starting to come up again. Again, if earnings was bad, I'm sure it wouldn't have, and this and that, right? But in the back of my head, there's a little bit of an interesting correlation with S&P 500 went bad during that time frame. S&P 500 looks like it might be doing bad in this time frame. NVOS seems to do really well when it's bad and pretty bad when it's good, right? So just a little back of my head thought, okay? But oh man, right now it's really all about the 50 moving average, okay? And it's funny because you can argue that this is almost that same pump and dump view that we just saw in WISA. I don't know if you watched that one and this one as well, right? But again, NVOS has some news behind it. It actually has an earnings thing. NVOS actually has a decent back-to-back day of decent growth. And look, even that, it's not the prettiest, but there's at least something, all right? And you know, it's not a under 1 million to 200 million day kind of thing, right? So maybe there's a little bit more here to believe, but end of the day, look, that 50 moving average has been a very hard line since we lost the run. Okay, since that reverse split, especially, like it just unfolded and then some. This big candle, I remember it. I remember this was a day that everyone thought was going to bring big headlines and big good news. The news was basically we're going to reverse split tomorrow, and that's why that big candle was there. Again, I remember this run like it was yesterday. I really do. It was such a good run. Oh my goodness. Let's see if we can repeat it, all right? If we can break the 50, there is a lot of red down here, all right? I'm going to move this. No, let's keep this line because this is actually going to be our come down line. There is a good, decent little horizontal chunk right there, so I think that's where I'm going to draw the next line. It's almost the 100 moving average. Sorry, I didn't mean to zoom in, because you can see we're definitely doing a pretty steep decline down, right? So maybe that'll catch there in a couple days and that'll become an insignificant line. But for now, yeah, if we can continue and go, we're coming here, okay? The one interesting thing, all right, normally I say you gotta at least break or at least do like better than half of the big candle to the left. You know, when I click, it's not for perfect, right? But every time I click half of this day, half of this March 13th, I always click the same 61 cents, which is where we closed. All right, so I think we're close. I do think that this thing wants to make a good move. Now, look, do I know how high it's going to go and this and that? We'll see. But MACD is getting close to positive. RSI is at a very healthy 66, all right? And again, if the volume can do what it did, that'll be substantial. If we don't get the same level volume, all right, look, we're at a place where the 50-day average of volume, that 50-day volume line, wow, I struggle to say that. It's in a healthy place. That's a realistic number based on these, and yeah, if we can just destroy this line alone, we'll do some good things, let alone back it up and jump into the big millions, right? But I'm watching this break the 50 and I'm going to want to go to the 100, right? And really just creep up a little bit more on this. I like this. I think that's going to be my alert. I'm going to set an alert at 63 cents. Again, an alert is not an immediate buy notification, but yeah, I wouldn't mind knowing NVOS if it gets there. I think this 55 is a good line down, all right? And look, I don't really care too much about after hours, you know that. We're pretty much holding, all right? I know we're coming down, don't get me wrong, right? But if you go up 32%, there's a real good chance that you're going to drop pretty hard. And this one's actually relatively holding. So I'll call it okay, but again, you know I don't care about after hours, right? So do we need to look at the weekly? Not really. Oh, look at that. 73 is almost perfect with the 20 moving average. I love it. Cool. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I wanted to look at... all right, we'll do one more real quick. AMC, there was a request for this. Listen, I'm not entirely sure I trust this, but there's a maybe consideration, all right? Really quickly, if you can please subscribe, if you can please share, it does wonders with the YouTube algorithms, all right? So listen, I never like a stock under the 8 and the 20, let alone under all 5 moving average. Oh man, there are too many lines. Let's delete all these lines. My. Get rid of all that. This is not a chart that makes me excited or makes me think good things are going to happen, all right? I was looking for some headlines. I don't think I saw them. Please let me know if there were headlines that I missed, but I didn't really see much of a reason for this 10% jump, all right? RSI's been living very, very low, 15, 16. I mean, RSI is very low. It gets mediumly okay. I don't think mediumly is a word, but you get it. And then it just goes back to very low again. So I kind of have to assume that that's what's going to be happening right now, right? The one good thing maybe is the fact that the markets aren't looking beautiful. Maybe that's a reason for some silly stocks to do some silly things. I think we can agree AMC is a silly stock. It is, right? I say that with respect and love if you're in this. I'm not insulting it at all, but yeah, it is. It's one of the 2 starters of what is now the meme army, right? I don't even know if people use that word. I still do because I'm kind of an internet loser. I don't really know what's up, right? But yeah, I mean, this is a silly stock, and when the markets get scary, silly things do well, all right? So I see this is going up a little bit. I don't know if it's significant enough to think it's important. And even with that, we're still actually under the 8, okay? That said, that's essentially what I'm looking for tomorrow. Listen, if we can... I'll be real honest with you. I even would... Nah, that might be too much. I'll do that. I think on the other side of that, I'll do 86. Let's set an alert here. I'll set an alert here. Oops, too many clicks. 286. I think if we can break into that, there's a real decent shot. Break the 8, you're going to head to the 20. All I'm seeing is a lot of red, red, red. All right, so there's a good amount of pain and recovery to be had. Again, the RSI is really low. It's been here before. It does a good job of bringing itself back up because, again, things can't just live down here, right? They, like I say, things do a healthy cool down when they're going up. Things do healthy cool ups when they're going down, right? Like, it is basically just going down the entire time. But yeah, the RSI can't just live down here the whole time. It's got to go down. It's got to reset up. Got to go back down. Got to reset up. Got to go back down, right? So instead of a healthy cool down, it's a healthy cool or unhealthy cool up. I guess that's the complete opposite of it. All right. So to me, this one will do well if the markets do bad. Maybe let me know if there's a headline I missed. All right. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Oh, I appreciate you so much.